Sometimes people don't realize they are standing right in the middle of their destiny. But there are nights when even silence feels like a warning of the storm that is about to arrive. That night was exactly like that. From the outside, the mansion looked the same as always. The trees in the garden swayed gently in the wind, and the city was slowly falling asleep. But inside those walls, secrets that had been buried for years and wounds that had quietly grown inside people's hearts had become too heavy to stay hidden any longer. And no one knew it yet, but a decision made that night would not only change the lives of two people, it would permanently alter the fate of two entire families. So what do you think? Is destiny something created by our choices, or do the mistakes of the past slowly pull us toward an ending we never even see coming? That night, Mercan was alone in her room. She stood by the window, staring into the dark sky. The distant lights of the city were shining softly, but the darkness inside her heart was far deeper than the night outside. The truth she had learned only hours earlier kept replaying in her mind. Atesh's hidden plan, the revenge he had carried for years, and the painful realization that she had entered his life as part of that plan. All of it had left a deep wound in her heart. But perhaps the biggest contradiction of the human heart is this. Even when it is broken, love does not disappear completely. Mercan whispered quietly to herself, if everything was part of a plan, then why did I see something real in his eyes? And maybe that was the real question. Can a person lie and still truly love at the same time? What would you think if you were in her place? At the same moment, in another part of the mansion, Atesh was sitting alone in his study. Old files, photographs, and documents he had kept hidden for years were spread across the desk in front of him. Every one of them was a piece of the revenge plan he had built so carefully over time. For years, that plan had been his only purpose. But now, for the first time, when he looked at those papers, he felt something different, an emptiness. Because there was something inside that plan he had never expected. Mercan. Atesh closed one of the files and leaned back in his chair. Maybe I should never have gone this far, he thought. But then the memories of the past began to flood his mind. Everything he had lost, the pain he had carried for years, and the bitter truth that justice had never truly been served. Those memories pulled him back to the same place they always had, revenge. But now another question had begun to haunt him. If he continued this path and finally got his revenge, would he lose Mercan forever? And what do you think? Would someone really continue chasing revenge if it meant losing the person they loved most? Just then, there was a knock on the door. Simul stepped into the room. The serious look on his face immediately caught Atesh's attention. We found something, Simul said. Atesh straightened in his chair instantly. What is it? Simul hesitated for a moment before speaking again. A new name has appeared in connection with what happened that night. The atmosphere in the room changed immediately. Because a truth that had been hidden for years was suddenly getting closer to the surface. But the real question was this. Was it the truth Atesh had always believed, or something that would completely change everything he thought he knew? Simul continued slowly. It's possible that the people we blamed weren't the only ones involved. Atesh frowned. What do you mean? Simul took a deep breath. What if someone has been manipulating everyone for years? Those words planted a dangerous new doubt inside Atesh's mind. Because if that was true, then the revenge plan he had spent years building might have been aimed at the wrong target all along. And that raised an even bigger question. If the real enemy was someone else, then whose game had Atesh been playing all this time? At the same time, Neza was sitting in his car outside the mansion. As he looked through the window toward the house, there was a calm yet dangerous expression on his face. For him, this story was never just about love. It was a battle for power. And he knew very well that in such a battle, the most powerful weapon was human emotion. Neza smiled to himself. Mercan won't trust him anymore, he thought. And without trust, no relationship can survive. But was Neza's plan really that simple? Or was he himself just another piece in a much larger and more dangerous game? The next morning, Mercan woke up early. She had barely slept during the night. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she noticed the exhaustion under her eyes. But the hardest thing for her was not the physical tiredness. It was the pain inside her heart. At that moment, her phone buzzed with a new message. The sender was an unknown number. The message contained only one sentence: "If you want to learn the truth, come to the old harbor today at 3. Mercan's heart began to race. Could this be a trap? Or was this finally the information that could change everything? What do you think Mercan should have done in that moment? Should she have gone there to uncover the truth, or should she have refused to become part of someone else's game and walked away from everything? Mercan thought about it for a few minutes. Then she put the phone down and took a deep breath. "I can't walk away from this story without knowing the truth," she whispered to herself. Because some questions refuse to let life move forward until they are answered. At the same time, Neza was sitting in his car outside the mansion. As he looked through the window toward the house, there was a calm yet dangerous expression on his face. For him, this story was never just about love. It was a battle for power. And he knew very well that in such a battle, the most powerful weapon was human emotion. Neza smiled to himself. Mercan won't trust him anymore, he thought. And without trust, no relationship can survive. But was Neza's plan really that simple? Or was he himself just another piece in a much larger and more dangerous game? The next morning, Mercan woke up early. She had barely slept during the night. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she noticed the exhaustion under her eyes. But the hardest thing for her was not the physical tiredness. It was the pain inside her heart. At that moment, her phone buzzed with a new message. The sender was an unknown number. The message contained only one sentence. And that's where today's story leaves us, right on the edge of a truth that could change everything. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more predictions, secrets, and deep analyses from your favorite Turkish dramas, don't forget to *** like this video *** and *** subscribe to our channel, Series World ***. Your support helps the channel grow and lets us continue bringing you the latest updates and theories from the world of Arafta. Now I want to hear your opinion. ***, do you think Atesh will still stand by Mercan when he discovers the truth about their families, or will this secret destroy their love forever? ***. Write your answer and your theories in the comments below. I read your comments, and sometimes your ideas are even more shocking than the twists in the series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video on Series World.